Hi everyone, welcome back to another Cut Above with Chris, and today I'm going to do a head shave. I'm heading out tonight with the family and my dad who's over visiting. We're going to go watch my daughter's first cheerleading sort of extravaganza for the Mandurah Magic opening night at Mandurah Aquatic Centre over here in Western Australia. So it's pretty cold here today, and I mean cold as in like 20 degrees during the day, probably about 18 degrees tonight. So I want to use something that smells slightly warm, so I'm going with this one, which I've been looking forward to use for quite a while, since I've seen it. Whiskers Coconut Barber by Haze Shaveworks. And it's a sort of, to me, a sort of cocoa-y, spicy, it's more, I get more of a chocolate note from it than I do coconut, but I can smell the coconut there. It's almost like a roasted coconut, but it smells lovely. The only downside to these, once again, with Haze Shaveworks is these little 2-ounce tubs. I really don't like them, personally. The soaps inside them are superb, but just the size of them. I can understand for Wolf Whiskers why they've done the smaller one, to see if it sells, and it's mainly going along with the brushes, but yeah, I just prefer the bigger tubs. I'm going to be loading from the tub today, just to sort of show you how difficult it is. I'm going to use my new Wolf Whiskers Purple Haze, which has the 25mm fan knot, which is a big knot. And let's just see how we go. Dip it in the water, flick out the excess, and then straight into here. Then as you can see straight away, it's pretty hard work. So what I've done is I've actually forced the tips into the brush, into the soap here, and I'm just sort of, I don't know, whizzing it about more than anything else. It's not loading like you normally would on a big huge tub. But we shall see, it might end up being pretty good. Yeah, it's certainly making more mess than normal. It's just as well that Haze Shaveworks use waterproof labels. Right, I'm just going to go with that. I don't think there's enough in there, but I could be totally wrong. I hope I am. Right, let's go ahead. Let's get stuck in. I'm just going to head lather today. Oh, the scent on this is actually really nice. Sort of, it's got a powdery note to it. I'm not quite sure what that powdery note is, but it's got a sort of talcum powder sort of thing going on. Hold on a second. Just dip my tips. I will need to dip the tips again because it is going to need more water than this. It does take quite a lot of water. That was a good dip, that one, which it probably needs. It needs a lot of water, this soap, just to get it to the consistency that you want. I never get super thick lathers on my head, but I do find with Haze Shaveworks, Sterling and Wickham that I do get a pretty good thick lather on a head lather when I'm actually directly on the skin. Normally I would do a bone lather for a head shave. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Right, brush is well loaded, which is great. Didn't actually make too much mess with the tub, with the soap. I'm just going to rinse that off now. I don't think I'll be going back to it. I think I've got enough in the brush. It's if I'm honest, it surprised me that I thought it was going to be difficult to load from such a small tub. But the soap is such good quality that it just loads easily anyway. You don't need really any huge surface to get a good load from it, so I'm quite surprised. And that lather, I might just dip it again. It's a bit better. I know with Haze Shaveworks I'm not going to have a problem. There goes my beagle, as they say in Scotland, geeing it laldy. Right, going with the Mergress again. I enjoyed the shave with it last time once I got it down to setting 3, so I'm going to keep it on setting 3 for this full shave. I've got 2 or 3 days growth now, So I'm going to keep it at setting 3. I've got the second use of the catty blade that I used the first time there, and let's just see how it feels with the grain. So I'm on setting 3 now. And that feels super smooth. Love these catty blades, I absolutely love them. I've got to say, I mean, I was a bit, it's at half of me at the moment because I'm enjoying so many blades. This razor is lovely on my head as well. I've got to say, it's nice using a razor like the Mergress where you don't have quite as much fear of cutting yourself, although I nicked myself last shave with it a couple of days back. I don't have the same sort of fear as I do with the I've just nicked myself there. I don't know whether I just re-nicked it. I might have done, but I'm not sure. But it's a very surprisingly smooth shave on the head, this razor. But it's not a surprise actually, because it's such a superb face shaving razor. But as you can see, I can just move a little bit faster with it. I'm not quite as scared. Not scared, but it sounds a bit disrespectful towards this razor, but I don't have to show it as much respect. And you guys out there that have used the Mergress or the Progress and also used the R41 or the Futura will know exactly what I mean. Now I'm not too worried about the Timeless, because the Timeless is a freak of nature, because it feels as mild as any razor I've used. But as efficient as my R41. So that's the first pass done, and that was superb. Scent on the soap, scent strength out the tub's probably like a 4, maybe 3.5, 4. It gets up to around about a 4.5, 5 when it's landed. But it smells good, it's nice, it's a nice warming scent. Quite sweet. Yeah, I really like it, and I love K-Shave Fluid soaps. The soaps are superb. But like I say, the only downside to the soaps that I've tried recently is the wintergreen, the Snow Dog, which I got the mentholated version of, and the amount of menthol in it was very disappointing, to the point of why I put the menthol in. Some people have used it and actually got a nice bit of menthol from it. I might have just got a bad batch. But I don't dispute the soaps. The soaps are superb and they smell great. The Snow Dog does smell good. I will say that Sterling Wintergreen, Glacial Wintergreen smells better. It's a lot stronger scent, which I like, especially in a wintergreen scent. Right, against the grain, setting 3 in the Mergress. Second use on the Kai. As you can see, the residual slickness with K-Shave works is very, very good. This razor is really surprising me. Is it as efficient as the R41? Not really, but it gets there and does the same job in the same amount of time without having to really think too much about it. And then when you pair it with a beautiful blade like the Kai, you just really can't go wrong. The one thing I don't get from this razor is any chatter really on setting 3. It doesn't blade chatter at all. It just cuts through the hair, one stroke like that. I have to go over it a few times just to get that desired effect, but because of the slickness in the K-Shave Works soap, the residual slickness, you have that ability straight away to do that, which some soaps don't offer you. I'll tell you what, there's not much left there. In fact, there's hardly anything left. Which, given I'm using the Mergress Merca Progress head on setting 3, it's very, very impressive. Just a nice thin layer now. So I've got loads of soap out of that one little load, more than enough to complete at least 3 passes on the head. I'm only putting a thin coating on now because I don't want anything thick, because this is mainly just pickups now, just to finish it all off. I mean, one thing I will say about the Mergress is it's quite a heavy little razor. One good thing about it is it's short, so it doesn't really affect. It's not too bad. But with my dodgy shoulder, just make it a little bit more difficult. That, guys, is a slam dunk. Whoa, superb shave, really was. It don't come much better than that. And the Mergress has really surprised me because I wasn't expecting it to be as good a head shave as the R41 or the Timeless. So definitely performed over and above what I thought it would. Right, to stick with the sort of spicy theme, or you know, it's spicy, the wolf spice. It's not wolf spice coconut barber, but it is a spicy sort of coconutty roasty scent. Witch hazel, medicated by Haze. Smells just like cloves. Oh, feels great. While that's drying, we should look at what we used. So the soap today, good thing with K-Shave Works is that's soaking wet. No damage to the labels because they're all waterproof. Whiskers Coconut Barber by K-Shave Works, superb soap, smells great, works great, lather's great, loads great, just excellent soap. Well packaged, it's packaged lovely, little 2-ounce tub, and it smells great. Sort of powdery roast coconut with a little hint of sort of nutmeg and cinnamon spice sort of thing going on in there, I think, but it smells great. The brush, Wolf Whiskers Purple Haze, made by Peter Wolf over at Wolf Whiskers, absolutely superb. Absolutely love this brush. Easily the king of my den now, this brush, over anything in there. It's my #1 piece of hardware over the Timeless, over anything. I just love it. I love the knot, I love the look, I love the feel, the colours, everything. Superb. The razor, what can I say, it's really surprised me. Second shave with this on the head, Mergress in a row. Second use of the Kai blade, which was as smooth as ever, super sharp, super smooth. No nicks, cuts, that I know of. I can't see any in the mirror, I can't see any, oh, I've got is that a weeper? I think that was a weeper, I think. But other than that, great, superb. Setting 3 I keep it on. I know it's an adjustable, but setting 3 does me a great shave with and against the grain. And yeah, that's BBS. You just don't get much better than that. Nivea Too Faced, which there's not much left of. Sort of silly doing a warmer scented shave and finishing off with a quite cold aftershave. Oh, it feels great, this stuff though. There we have it, all done, ready for the night, ready for tomorrow as well, because that'll be pretty BBS in the morning as well. It's not a weeper, it's just a little red blotch, I think. So I'll leave you guys to it. I hope you've enjoyed your weekend so far. I hope you enjoy the rest of it, because it's beginning of the Saturday for most of you guys over in the States, and you're a little bit through the day in the UK. So take it easy, stay safe, drive safe, don't drink and drive. I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.